Now, the Subway Final Word.
She had surgery, and she was wiped, so having me there, I think, helped a lot, and vice versa, to take some of the load off.
Welcome back to the Subway Final Word. Daniel Murphy of the New York Mets stirred up some controversy, taking 3 days off for paternity leave allowed by the baseball CBA when his wife had a baby. He missed 2 games, and some thought he should come back for the second game. Daniel Murphy being unfairly criticized for taking the entire 3 days of paternity leave? Chris?
Well, I tend to decide, first off, it's in the collective bargaining agreement. If somebody thought 3 days was too long, then they should have negotiated at the time. So, you know, whatever is in your labor contract, you can take full advantage of. And I, tend to side with that. But I do think there's been way too much backlash against people who did question it to begin with. There's a lot of gray area here. If this was Game 6 and Game 7 of the World Series, do you think Daniel Murphy would have done it? And that's an honest question. I don't know. I don't know the guy at all. I don't know the situation there. I don't know his family, what it is. But I think it might be a little bit different situation. That make him a bad father?
Well, the World Series would be a little bit of a different situation.
Well, that make him a bad father then? That's what people are implying. What about the pressure now? Future ball players that have kids, if they take 2 days off, does that make them not a family man? Because Daniel Murphy took 3. If they take 1 day off, is that not making them a family man? It's a lot more, but it's not black and white. There's a lot of gray area here. Good for Daniel Murphy for taking advantage of what he had and being there for his wife. But I also don't see any problem with people kind of questioning it.
Look, Chris, Daniel Murphy didn't create any controversy. The New York media did. Okay, yeah. Daniel Murphy, as you said, just went right by the book. He was down there for the full 3 days. He could have come back for the second game. Big deal, first of all. We're talking about the New York Mets, and we're talking about Daniel Murphy, so who cares on either front? That said, what was really reprehensible out of this was Boomer Esiason going on a New York radio show and saying out loud that Daniel Murphy's wife should have had her C-section before the season. Now, that's gotten him into all kinds of hot water, as you can imagine. But that's New York. That's what you get out of them. I mean, they have a bad baseball team in the New York Mets, and this is as good as they can get in terms of publicity out of them. Alan?
There really is a labor clause in this labor agreement,
no.
Isn't there? You know what? Here's what nobody in the world is paying any attention to. Sean Rodriguez, Jimmy Rollins of the Phillies, Brian Dunsing of the Twins all took labor leaves this week. 3 other players in the major leagues also were on paternity leaves. You didn't hear anything about it. Jimmy Rollins plays in Philadelphia. It's just totally absurd that this guy took this heat, and it's all because he plays in New York. And let me throw this out to you, and I don't mean to suggest anything here. What would happen if there had been complications in this birth, and there had been some kind of tragedy or some kind of really bad thing happen? Every person in America would be ripping this guy for not being there. This is a controversy created by the New York media and nobody else.
I thought Clint Hurdle put it best the other day. He said, it's a miracle, childbirth, and you're going to have other opening days. You're going to have other games to play. You only get to see your child being born one time. You get one shot at it. I agree with Clint Hurdle. I've been there for both of my children, and I wouldn't have missed it for anything, no matter what my job. Dan, what do you got? I know you're thinking of something.
I am thinking of something. I didn't know you were going to throw it to me. I'm thinking of something because I actually missed my son's birth while I was off covering the NHL draft in Raleigh. Now, that said, he popped out a month early. No one knew he was coming. But, if I'd had a choice, if I'd had any kind of advance notice, yeah, I'm on an airplane coming home. There's no discussion. There's no debate here, really. I mean, this is something that's completely manufactured by New York. Remember Joel Hanrahan, when he was with the Pirates, took a similar leave. Nobody said a word.
No, we need to take a time out. We're back with more on the Final Word, Subway Final Word, right after this.